Today we are having a chat to Willow. Willow runs ShareAbode. It is a not-for-profit organisation that I will let her share the goodness that it is. But Willow will actually be with us on the first event on the 16th of June at the Southport Community Centre, sharing awareness for her not-for-profit organisation. So thank you very much for having a chat with me today.
Oh, thank you for bringing me on.
Always. I met Willow the mid last year. Would it have been? And Willow started some networking events or more for mums and women in business. And although I'm not a mum, I said, oh, this really calls to me. Am I allowed to still come if I don't have a job? You're like, come on down. And it was really the first step for me personally in getting out of my own solitude after many years. So your presence, your energy, the women that you attracted there, the mini workshops that you created, I fell in love instantly. So this is our connection that we have that I really love to support the women that I know, connect with, and know how passionate they are about what they do. So there's a bit of a backstory for everyone of how we know each other.
Yeah.
Would you like to share your passion project of ShareAbode?
I would, yes. I don't do the workshops anymore because this passion project takes up all of my time, which is good, but I love it. So really, I'll explain what it is and then how I came about creating it. So ShareAbode essentially is an online platform that connects single parents with one another so that they can co-live. So co-living will reduce your rent and expenses, and you gain friendship and support. And obviously as a single mum, which I don't think I'd do it if I wasn't a single mum, my first couple of years were very isolating, challenging, emotionally, physically, spiritually, like in every single capacity you can think of. It was challenging. I'd moved from New South Wales to Queensland pretty much within the first second that I left my ex. So I knew nobody. So I was very isolated. My daughter was 3 months. My son had just turned 2. So they're really young. So I couldn't, it was just physically up every single, hour or two for feeding, and it was very draining. So all of those experiences kind of combined when I kind of thought, God, this is so hard. I wish I knew someone, and I had all these, beginning things, but I can't go out because, my kids are so young, and I'm kind of in hiding sort of thing. So I really just thought there should be more support for the single moms. There's a lot of support around there, but most of it really just talks about legalities and, just a different approach to what I do. So ShareAbode kind of came about, so it's been 15 months now, so it's very young, but it has blossomed organically and very beautifully. And it came about when I first decided to rent. So my backstory before that was I trained dogs for 15 years, 10 to 15 years. So that was my business. So when I left my ex, I sold that business and I sold the property it was on in the Central Coast, New South Wales. So I had a bit of money behind me, which was good because I didn't have that financial stress straight away. And I thought, I don't know where to settle. I don't know if to buy a house or rent or whatever. All I knew is where I was eating my money because the only place I could afford with a dog was hugely expensive, like a holiday home, because I wouldn't leave my dog. She's 14 and I love it a bit, part of the family. So basically what happened was I tried to rent for 3 months. It was so hard to get a rental. I was up against people with income. I looked like I wasn't serviceable because I had no income, even though I could probably buy the house. So it's very ridiculous how it works. I didn't have any workplace references because I was my boss. I didn't have any character references because no one knew what I was doing. So I was kind of like up shit creek, basically, with a whole lot of it. And I had the easy journey too. There's a lot of women out there and men who have a much harder journey. So I told Mum I can't get a rental. Every time I put something in, it gets knocked back because I'm not serviceable. And, and so she went with me to try and help me. Still that got knocked back. So we kind of thought, well, I've been in this like holiday home for 4 months. I need a stable home. That's my first step. So I was basically homeless for 4 months, living month to month in this holiday home, knowing that in May they were going to lend it out to someone else and I'd have absolutely nowhere to go. So Mum decided, I'm going to go guarantor for you. So she went guarantor for me and we got the first house we applied for. crazy. So mum has a continual income because she pays herself, even though she's got her own businesses. She's set up very differently to how I was. So anyway, it was huge. It was 4-bedroom. It was really expensive because I really had to move. I had no choice. 4-bedroom, half an acre in Mudgery, huge, ridiculous. And I thought, this is crazy. I'm paying so much money off my savings and I'm still so bloody lonely. And I mulled about it, and so I worked on my own stuff. I went to the gym to get rid of the baby weight, get some health back in, thought, oh, I can meet another mum in the Mums and Bubs class, which is where I actually met Orly. So we've known each other for ages. And my savings just dwindling. Like I could just see it going. I thought, this is crazy. What do I do? Maybe someone would move in with me. That's really how it started. So I got an older single mummy. Her kids had all grown up, so there was no other kids, and she travelled for work. So she rented the back room with the bathroom, and basically it split my rent in half, expenses in half. And when she was around, the kids looked forward to it because she was older. You know, she was like 60, still really active. So it was really great. And through this, I thought, geez, I feel better. I'm happier. My finances are under control. Okay, there's something to this. So I thought maybe, I wonder if other people do this or if I'm the only one. Anyway, I did some posts on a couple single mum sites, and it appeared that a lot of people were not doing that, and they were all stressed about the same reasons I was. So I thought, oh, I know what to do with my savings. I'll see if I can introduce people. And I created a platform, and that's really how simple it was. So I'm the kind of person who I won't work on something unless I'm super passionate about it, because I want to give it its all. And that's how it happened. It started with a couple of people, the platform I invested most of my money in. And then now it's at 3,000 strong. We've had just over 20 successful co-living around Australia. We've got a couple of exciting partners coming on board, and we've also introduced single women who are seniors. So a lot of, like the one I had who was a single mum, but her kids have moved out, and they're also financially and, you know, hard hitting, and they're also a bit isolated, and their families have all kind of moved on. And there's a lot of single moms who have just a 3-bedder, but they still need help, and this helps them without bringing another kid into the equation. So I'm trying to like spice it up a bit by helping people who can't have that extra other mum and kid in. So that's kind of what ShareAbode is. It's completely free. And yeah, I'm just at that time where I'm just finding ways to just nurture the people in there, to really give them a whole bunch of, you know, help information about co-living. There's a lot of people that are a bit unknown about it. They're not sure. And just a bit of education and insight as to the new age co-living and what it really means. Nutshell.
Amazing. Amazing. Oh, just when things happen so naturally, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Because of what you experienced, because of how you live, because of what you needed, and look what you created and also what comes your way. I think that is just a beautiful example of how things can happen so naturally. We're in a world that we're probably used to forcing, fighting, controlling, and making things a little bit harder. But when we can just look at our own situation and our own needs, and all of a sudden there's a whole world out there that needs exactly the same thing that we do. Look at what we can create in terms of businesses, not for profits, even if it's meetup groups. You know, there's just so much we can be doing to not feel the way we don't want to feel, you know, to get out of the loneliness, to get out of having to spend all this money or all this rent or whatever it is. There's always a solution, whether you're the creator or there's somebody else. There's so much more gold in connection and community these days. We're starting to really, really, really feel it and understand it. So thank you so much for sharing this story. There's so much information that so many women are going to want to know more about. So for you, we'll be presenting and you'll have your stall there on the day. So if women need to know more or want to know how to sign up or what do they need to be able to start to the process to see if they can come on board with ShareAbode with lots of different avenues. I'm sure there's a lot of different opportunities. As you said, there's other partners sort of coming on board or other support networks that we're here to help. You know, we're here to help one another. We're here to help ourselves. We're here to help our friends and family. In whatever way we can do that, we're all really quite open to expanding the community, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like, you know, when I was very, you know, in the beginning, I was very much single parent to single parent because there is no such a platform. But as it developed with the senior women coming on board, and, you know, and then there's the, you know, I've got a couple of people who are private homeowners, and, you know, they want to give their home to two single parents, or there's one who's got a granny flat, but they're a married couple, but they feel for the single moms. And, you know, you can never say no, even though initially it was meant to be that way. It's interesting because the name I came up with is not a single parent name. It's just ShareAbode. So it's nice how people have really come together too. Even they're signing up, even if they don't get it, it's the acceptance of the wanting to know more about how the grassroots movements of people who support each other can really change the foundation of Australia, like the world. Most things that are a challenge these days can be solved by groups of people. So it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's environmentally beautiful. You get a lesser carbon footprint because you're sharing, and you need help with your mortgage, it does it. It's so encompassing, and the vibe of the people that come are really into making their life easier. You know, design your life, for God's sake. You know, you don't have to let your situation define you. So that's really, it's courageous. These people are quite courageous because it's bloody scary co-living. You never know who you're going to get, but, you know, you learn over time how to interview them and how to relate to them. And it's beautiful. It's empowering. It helps the kids, right? Like, gosh, you know, imagine giving your kids such resilience to go out and fight for themselves and fight for what they want, to design their life, to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. Like, that's the new generation that will be born from this.
Most definitely. Oh, I love your passion. It's beautiful.
I know. It's like...
I love it. I love it. And the flexibility, because we all can get so, I guess, rigid in our own ways, which is okay for a while, but then when that starts to cause us a problem, it's very hard for us to step out of our comfort zone, out of our own little bubble, or out of what we're used to, especially when your situation changes dramatically. You know, if you break up with a partner, if something dramatic happens, the next minute you find yourself in a completely different situation, everything changes. Like you said with you, everything literally changes. So from your internal state of being to your outside environment, that takes a lot to navigate through, and to then have to also be flexible to be around other people and to actually have support and maybe lean on people. None of us are very comfortable with that. So it's a really big learning curve for everybody, no matter what their situation is. So the more that we can, I guess, connect with other like minds, other people that are going through the same thing, we can start to like bring down our walls and get a little bit more comfortable with community, and then understand that everything really does take shape when you have those people around you. And then that's when your heart explodes, when you're really either living with or just have a community or a small group once a week, whatever it is for you, that starts you tiptoeing back out in the outside world to go, actually, there are beautiful people that aren't ready to listen to me or be there for me or totally understand where I'm coming from. And that's not something that we necessarily have grown up with. We've put more walls and more walls around us. And then when that situation changes, it's like, oh God, what do I do?
Yeah, it is. It's really hard. It's, you know, just from a mindset point of view, when, you know, when something dramatic happens, you go inward. And really what you should be doing is the opposite. You should be going out. It takes more courage to ask for support than it does to be proud enough to be quiet. Like, it's the massive amount of expansion and personal development you can have and change your life by just asking for support and saying yes to opportunities like, yes, you can make me dinner, and yes, you can do this. And it changes the whole paradigm of your lifestyle. And, you know, I'm such a believer in everything that parents do affects their children. And it's just like the ripple effect is unbelievable with this type of thing. And the countries that do it, I mean, it's not weird for them. You know, you look at all of the Asian countries and some of the European countries, like, well, just all of them. I can think of so many, but they all believe in community and coming together in a co-housing situation, and they blossom. And that's how it should be. I mean, humans are tribe animals. We shouldn't be alone fighting it. You know, it's not a thing to be proud of, fighting your battle alone. So it's, and it's shifting. It is shifting. It's slow, but we are shifting ever so slightly with all the co-working, you know, all the Ubers and the co-living spaces, and it is shifting. So it's good. I think that when it shifts, it's going to make a huge change to just the energy of Australia.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's a welcome shift with our own shift that we're going through in this world that is dramatically changing in every aspect. So whatever anyone's journey was to have that breakdown, it's all very purposeful. So when we can come out and actually start to see how magnificent the world is when we are welcoming more people in, we have a very, very different view of how to live our lives now. And everything is different for the better.
Yeah, absolutely everything. I mean, if you look at, just in general, if you look at something like homelessness and domestic violence, which is rampant, right, in Australia, they spend more and more billions of dollars trying to solve this issue when what they're doing is they're just literally throwing money away, and they're not asking all of us grassroots people what we're doing in our small ways and making us come together, like helping us come together. You know, you look at people go, well, how are you going to solve homelessness? I'm never going to solve it entirely. It's massive. But I can definitely say that, you know, two parents living together is so much more beneficial. I mean, a homeless person is there because usually of domestic violence if they're a parent. I mean, and the domestic violence thing goes way back to the kids. You know, you've kind of got to work in the school system there with changing those paradigms and the way they're brought up. But with just homelessness alone, they can't get into a home because they don't have enough to pay a bond, and then let alone keep going with this. So you split that bond by two people, yeah, it's doable. You split the ongoing by two, it's doable. And then what do? They get housing first. Then they can get themselves on their feet, they can get a job, and they can emotionally untangle and then rebuild. Their kids get a safe home and a warm home, and as if that wouldn't solve homelessness, as if it doesn't make a massive contribution. So, you know, in domestic violence, you know, like they're financially abused, a lot of them, so they don't leave because they'll be homeless. So, yeah, there's refuges that will take them for 3 months, but if they don't have a place to go after 3 months, they get booted out. Like, that's the reality of refuges, and people don't get that it's that raw. This is a way to make that difference. So it's got such strong, and that's why I get so serious about it, because it's got such a strong, powerful way that people can get out of that rut and can get their lives going. And, you know, so what if you're co-living and it's just a little bit shitter? I can tell you it's safer than living on the streets, and your kids are going to be happier, and you're adult, you can figure out your communication with the person you're living with, and you only have to do it for a year to save money to get a bond for a place by yourself. So it's very powerful.
Oh, so, and like you said, look where it's evolving already. You know, 15 months and you had this objective, but now we've got a few little extra layers coming on. But exactly, ShareAbode, who can actually afford, and here in Australia they talk about it a lot, who can actually afford to get into the real estate market? There's so many changes that the government's going through just because of the costs that whatever generation just doesn't have. So look at the changes they're making, but who's thinking about your wavelength? You know, how do we support people with where they are at right now, with the money that they're earning, with their money they're receiving, with the situation that they've got? You know, this is, God knows where this is going to go. You know, it's come through you and you're on the journey.
It is a journey. I'm learning every day. I feel like I'm in school every day, getting schooled about all these statistics and these viewpoints, and because it's such an emotional thing for most people, it's just you're like, oh God, okay, now what am I going to do with this? And okay, you can't think about this whole picture that there's 900,000 single parents, and there's 700,000 struggling, and there's 700,000 vacant homes. You get really overwhelmed. So doing it, nurturing the people that are there and getting them to really believe in the idea of it, of an easier and better journey. So what if you lose a bit of space, is so much easier than doing that big picture. And it goes out anyway. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it is in a year from now on its second birthday, because it's evolving naturally, which is beautiful, because I never would have pictured it to do anything. I never would have thought 6 months ago that it would help people get off the streets, and it does. And I never thought that it would help senior women, and it does. And, you know, aligning with people who do that kind of stuff, big charities, never would have occurred to me in my wildest dreams. So yeah, it's meant to be. It's totally meant to be.
Most definitely. And when it can be that natural and organic, because like you said, you're focusing on what you've got right now, that's how it evolves naturally and organically. When we have these big pictures, it's great. but what are we doing right now? That's in all areas of life. No matter what we're facing, we're doing, we can all get caught up in the big picture, but where's our action steps right now? What do we need to be focused on right now? And sometimes they're really little things, or they seem tedious, but they're the foundation to make it that big vision, that big goal, and some. You know, we're in a world now that things are rapidly evolving, and we have no control over it. We actually have to get out of the way, because these ideas, these creations, the need that the world has, that's taking us by storm. That's what's guiding us. So, you know, we're learning every day, no matter what our projects are and our passion projects, it's happening so organically. I feel like the more we get out of the way and just say, okay, guide us, we'll do whatever you say, and focus on the now, this is why things can actually take off so quickly and truly be of service. Do you believe?
Truly be of service. It is a beautiful age. I know that we have more challenges now in the world than we've kind of ever had, a lot of the struggles, but we have more people into personal development, mindset, energy healing. Like, it is co-living, sharing community, women in business. Wow. Like, it's shifting and it's gradual. And, you know, when the world puts, you know, a panel of amazing people on board instead of different people, it's going to happen. Like, I just know all this stuff is working towards it, you know. United Nations, United World, like, you know, there's a lot of countries that have solved a lot of the issues that Australia has by working and collaborating together. Like Finland, who does housing first, is amazing. They basically have no homelessness, because when someone's homeless, they give them a home. If someone doesn't open their home, they tax them. But if they open their home, they incentivize them. You know, it's very different, but they're the happiest country in the world, right? Statistically. They have the biggest community. Their kids are happier. They have dancing in school. They learn meditation. They're next level. And so I think the world needs to look at places like that and see what they're doing. I mean, it's taken 10 years for them to get to that. Like, I've done a lot of research on Finland. But it's amazing the things they do and the professions they have and the way that they, you know, help women in the workplace come back to work with their babies and offer the birth of a child minding. And it's a very different, they're in their own little world, which is a very beautiful, happy place. And I just know that the ideas that I'm getting from there hopefully will inspire others to do that with their life as well.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Oh, and exactly. Those that are already doing it, they've done the work, they've paved a new path for the globe. You know, you just tack on the end. So what's working, you work it in your system. We all can be doing a lot better, and we're all doing it individually. And we are starting, like you said, we're forming little groups, little not-for-profits, and they're growing, and they'll all start to come together, because essentially that's the way of the future. Us all being individuals trying to do everything on our own isn't working. So let's try something else.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today. Can the ladies that are going to watch this chat and this interview reach out to you and want to have a chat? And I'll put all the links for ShareAbode so they can say, hey, I feel like I need to be a part of this, or I'd love some help. You're okay with them reaching out to you?
Oh, absolutely. Anyone that resonates with it, just throw any idea at me. I'm sure if the idea is there, it'll match sometime, if not today, sometime. And anyone that needs help, or you know anyone that needs help, just jump on. You know, it's yeah, reach out.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. We look forward to also having you there on the day, on the 16th of June. The ladies can actually chat to you in person. Some people prefer to have that one-on-one, just to ask those questions. So that's why you'll be here. That's why we're running the event. So you can actually come up and say, look, I'm interested, but I'm not sure. Or what do I need to do? Or just to see, does this really fit with their situation? A lot of us just need support, but we don't know where to go or how and who to ask, and we don't feel comfortable asking. This is why we're running this event, for so many different reasons. So Willow will be there on the day. So come, meet, have a chat, find out more about ShareAbode, and we really look forward to seeing everybody on the 16th of June at the Southport Community Centre. Thank you, Willow.